Early in the morning, a construction worker named Dalton Russell enters a New York bank. He chews gum, looks relaxed, and begins setting up his equipment as if it is a normal workday. Nearby, a woman speaks loudly on her phone, drawing the attention of a bank employee who asks her to lower her voice.
Disturbing other customers.
Sorry.
All right.
Behind them, Dalton calmly blinds the security cameras with his flashlights. At the same time, 3 more construction workers enter the bank, all carrying heavy equipment. Without warning, the entrance doors are sealed. Dalton takes control immediately, ordering everyone to get down. Within a minute, the bank is fully under his control.
My friends and I are making a very large withdrawal from this bank. Anybody gets in our way gets a bullet in the brain.
Outside, a police officer notices smoke coming from the building and reports it. Dalton steps into view, aims his gun, and calmly warns the officer not to come closer if he values the lives inside.
Yo, back up, shit, back up. Central, give me an 85. Perp with a gun, possible hostages, 20 Exchange, Manhattan Trust.
Elsewhere, Detective Keith Frazier is on the phone with his girlfriend, who is also a police officer. He talks about his problems, including an internal affairs investigation over missing drug money. The call ends lightly, but his stress remains. While talking with his partner, Bill Mitchell, their superior assigns them to handle the bank robbery, since the usual robbery detective is on vacation. They head out immediately.
Now, bad guys, here I come.
Inside the bank, the hostages are taken to the basement. They are ordered to hand over their phones and keys. A female robber, using the name Stevie, collects the items and signals Dalton. He questions a bank employee about a missing phone.
Where's your cell phone?
I'm telling you I did. I left it at home.
When the man lies, Dalton calmly checks other phones, finds the contact, and calls it. The phone rings inside a nearby office. Dalton locks himself in to think, then returns and knocks the man unconscious. The message is clear. The employee immediately hands over a hidden key, and a young boy gives up his game device, though Dalton lets the boy keep it. The hostages are then forced to strip to their underwear and change into identical uniforms. They are blindfolded and separated into different rooms, erasing any clear distinction between victims and robbers. Outside, Keith and Bill arrive and begin assessing the situation. The first officer on scene admits he saw very little, still shaken by the gun pointed at him.
You ever had a gun stuck in your face before?
Yeah, once.
Really?
Yeah, by a 12-year-old.
All right, well, look. As soon as we get this thing cleared up, we'll cut you loose, all right?
Keith reassures him, then turns to Captain John Darius. John explains that communication signals are jammed and all underground exits are blocked. Keith listens carefully. With no clear escape in a crowded public location, he understands this is not a smash and grab. The robbers are still setting the stage, and when they are ready, they will want to talk. Elsewhere in the city, bank founder Arthur Case meets Madeline White, a powerful and well-known negotiator. He asks her to intervene in the robbery, focusing only on one demand, the security of his safe deposit box, number 392. Madeline senses there is more behind his request and asks what the box contains. Arthur avoids a direct answer, insisting only that whatever is inside must not fall into the hands of the police or the public. Madeline agrees to get involved. Back at the bank, the robbers push an elderly man outside after he suffers a heart attack. His release gives police their first solid detail. The man explains there are 4 robbers, dressed like painters. It is a small clue, but enough to matter if a forced entry becomes necessary.
He thinks there's 4 perps, says they came in dressed as painters.
Soon after, Detective Bill Mitchell discovers a painter van parked nearby. From the outside, it looks like a mistake. Keith tries to call the robbers, expecting a response. The line stays silent.
Okay, nothing yet.
Inside the bank, Dalton and his crew locate a storage room.
Beautiful.
While police search for leverage above ground, the robbers begin digging into the floor, quietly setting the next phase of their plan. Outside, officers pull up surveillance footage from the bank's headquarters. The screens show nothing but darkness. Dalton's infrared lights have completely blinded the cameras. At the same time, Madeline makes her move by meeting the mayor in private. She demands access to the crime scene so she can speak directly with the robbers. Although the mayor has no real authority to allow this, the weight of the moment leaves him no choice.
Thank you.
Shortly after, an Indian bank employee is released. A desk drawer hangs from his neck. When officers see him, they mistake him for a suicide bomber and violently restrain him.
Give my turban back!
Come on, shut up. Relax.
The drawer turns out to carry a written demand from the robbers, asking for 2 buses and a jet as their escape. Keith and the officers agree not to give in until they can confirm the hostages' safety. Arthur Kay suddenly appears at the command post, claiming he can help arrange a jet if needed. The officers stare in silence. Keith calmly asks him to wait outside. They then question the released employee about the situation inside. The man is shaken and distracted, focusing only on retrieving his turban, which holds religious importance to him. Bill steadies him and reminds him that his co-workers are still inside. Finally, the man explains there are about 40 hostages and only 4 robbers, all now wearing the same black uniforms as the captives. Not long after, the police receive another message requesting food for 50 people. Before sending anything in, they secretly prepare listening devices.
What's this?
It's a digital recorder. You click it and it'll record for half an hour.
James Bond shit.
Well, you can get them on Amazon.
Inside the bank, one robber, known as Steve-O, blends in with the hostages and loudly urges them to remove their masks. Dalton appears immediately, drags him away through the rooms, and once they reach a private area, strikes him down without hesitation. Moments later, pizzas and water are prepared for delivery. When the robbers come to pick them up, Keith calmly introduces himself and tells Dalton that from now on, every phone line will connect only to him. Dalton shows no reaction and quietly walks back inside the bank. Keith and his team begin listening through the bugs hidden in the pizza boxes. At first, the voices sound unfamiliar, and they assume the robbers are speaking Russian.
This ain't Russian.
An officer corrects them, saying it is not Russian, though he cannot identify the language. With sharp instinct, Keith flips on the speaker, letting everyone listen. A construction worker nearby steps forward and confidently says the language is Albanian. Keith brings the man into the truck and asks him to translate. The worker admits he cannot understand the words, but he is certain about the language because his ex-wife is Albanian. Without wasting time, Keith pressures him to call her.
I'm gonna regret this.
Inside the bank, the robbers move the hostages to a different room again. This time, Dalton loudly scolds Stevie so the others can hear, allowing her to blend back in as a hostage. Later, Dalton offers a slice of pizza to a young boy who's been playing a video game. He sits across from him and watches quietly. The boy explains that the game rewards points for committing crimes. Instead of fear, the boy feels impressed, seeing the robbers as people collecting points in real life.
I gotta talk to him about this game.
Outside, the worker's ex-wife finally arrives, along with her unpaid parking tickets. Dalton already understands what she wants and agrees. After listening for a while, she suddenly laughs and tells the police that the recordings are propaganda speeches from Albania's late leader, Enver Hoxha. Keith realizes the robbers are far more prepared than he expected, always staying one step ahead. Inside the bank, the robbers open only safe deposit box number 392. They ignore everything else and take just one envelope of documents. Soon after, the mayor arrives with Madeline, and together they meet Keith in private. Madeline openly offers a bribe, promising to cover up a missing $140,000 if she is allowed to speak with the robber. Keith declines and lets her wait in a nearby shop if she chooses to stay. He then calls Dalton and delays him, saying the jet is not ready yet. As Keith presses to learn what Dalton truly wants, Dalton shuts him down and warns him to follow orders if he wants the hostages alive. Before ending the call, Dalton asks a strange question about weight, comparing trains passing through Grand Central Station to the paper used for U.S. currency. The police scramble for an answer. One officer explains that U.S. money is made from cotton, not trees. Another interrupts and says both weigh the same, revealing it as a trick question. Dalton accepts the answer and casually asks for sandwiches.
Pretty good.
Grand Central Station
Is the post office.
Post office.
All right, let's just get the sandwiches.
Inside the bank, Stevie, and Steve-O finally finish digging the hole beneath the floor. In another room, the hostages speak quietly among themselves, sharing fears and guesses. An elderly Jewish man calmly explains that the robbers will not kill them. He believes they are careful criminals, not terrorists, and that thought brings a small sense of relief. As night falls, the tension outside eases slightly. Keith allows Madeline to speak with Dalton.
Someone here wants to talk to you.
On the phone, she offers to provide everything he wants, but only if she can secure one specific safe deposit box. Dalton quickly realizes she is neither a police officer nor a bank employee and invites her inside to talk face-to-face. Keith orders her to stay alert and return by dawn. Madeline insists he trust her, reminding him of her powerful connections. Inside the bank, she meets Dalton and offers him $2 million if he surrenders, promising a light sentence in return. Dalton refuses and asks what she is truly trying to protect. Before she can respond, Dalton explains the story of a Jewish-American banker during World War II. While others fled and lost everything, this man worked with the Germans, grew rich, and helped build banks using stolen wealth. Madeline understands exactly who he is referring to, yet she continues pushing to complete her deal. Dalton then reveals an envelope and asks if it is what she is searching for. Staying composed, Madeline counters by offering the money again, but only if Dalton takes the envelope with him. She asks how he plans to escape. Dalton calmly says he will simply walk out the front door, ending the discussion without agreement. Later, Keith questions Madeline about what happened inside. She dismisses him, lies carelessly, and even threatens him again with the missing money. Keith laughs it off, making it clear he is not intimidated. Neither of them gets what they want, and the tension between them only grows stronger.
Careful, Detective Fraser. My bite's much worse than my bark.
As the night drags on, Captain John questions why the robbers keep demanding a jet, pointing out that even terrorists in the Munich Olympics never got one. That comment sparks a realization in Keith. He understands that the robbers are only buying time with impossible demands and meaningless questions. Keith calls Dalton and tells him the jet is ready, asking to check on the hostages first.
Make sure the hostages are okay.
Meet me at the front door.
Dalton agrees and allows him to inspect the rooms one by one. In the third room, where the most difficult hostages are held, Steve and Stevie are hidden among them. Keith speaks gently to the hostages, reassuring them that he is working to set them free, unaware that the real escape is already in motion. Later, Dalton leads Keith toward the bank entrance. Keith directly asks why Dalton keeps wasting time when both of them know the jet is never a real escape. He warns that dragging things out will only push the police to launch an assault. Dalton stays calm and explains that an assault can only happen if there is an immediate threat, such as a hostage being killed. He lightly shifts the mood, joking that Keith might need more proposals. Keith laughs and says only his girlfriend wants one. Dalton then turns the conversation personal and asks if Keith truly loves her. Keith can only thank him, and for a brief moment, the negotiation feels stable again. Suddenly, Keith attacks Dalton, trying to pull off his mask. Instantly, Steve-O raises his gun and stops him. Dalton becomes angry and orders Keith out of the bank, warning that crossing the line will bring serious consequences. Not long after, Dalton calls Keith and demands the police rotate the truck camera toward the bank interior. On the screen, they witness Dalton shooting a hostage. Keith rushes to the entrance and demands to know what Dalton really wants. Dalton only repeats his demands for buses and a jet, blaming the hostage's death on Keith's earlier mistake.
You're too damn smart to be a cop. Tell them to send someone sane over here.
Soon after, Higher Command arrives and removes Keith from control.
What'd he say? That's it.
Captain John takes charge and decides to storm the bank. To reduce the risk to hostages, the team prepares to use rubber bullets. While waiting, Keith casually talks with another officer. The officer admits that years ago, he was shot by a 12-year-old boy and that the experience still shapes his instincts. He then stops himself, realizing he may have said too much.
I'll try and watch what I say in the future. You never know who's listening.
That moment triggers something in Keith's mind. Keith rushes to the surveillance truck and searches inside the desk drawer. There, he discovers a hidden listening device. Keith tries to stop the assault, but it is already too late. Inside the bank, the robbers move fast. They release the hostages and blend in with them as everyone runs toward the exit. Chaos erupts. Some hostages are shot, and everyone is detained. After the bank is secured, the truth begins to surface. The robbers' weapons are plastic replicas. The hostage execution was staged. No money or valuables appear to be missing. On the surface, the heist seems to have failed completely. However, The robbers have already escaped, hidden among the hostages. Keith and Bill question everyone one by one, using pressure and quick tests, but no one can identify the robbers. Every witness only remembers other hostages.
All right, my dear.
I could go.
No.
All I know is that they called each other a variation of Steve. Steven, Steve-O, Stevie.
Yeah, I saw her one time afterwards.
How you sure you saw her again?
Can't hide quality like that.
You see, there's just you and one other woman that fit the physical description of the female suspect.
What's that?
You,
With no suspects and no visible crime left to prove, Keith is ordered to drop the case. The missing money is quietly recovered, and the investigation ends.
They found that missing Madrugada money.
My wallet?
No.
I don't want to know.
However, Keith still doubts the meeting between Madeline and Dalton. He begins searching the bank records and, as he expects, discovers that safe deposit box number 392 has never appeared in any record since the bank's founding in 1948. With a search warrant in hand, Keith coincidentally encounters Madeline at the courthouse. She reminds him of their arrangement, as she does not want to be further involved with her client, Arthur. Keith calmly replies that they never made a deal, and he plays a recording of the mayor and Madeline trying to bribe him at the bank.
I don't need you to be in my corner, Mr. Mayor. I'm innocent.
Madeline, without losing her composure, compliments him as a good detective and hints that the city will need him in the future, her words still carrying a subtle threat disguised as advice. Madeline reassures Arthur that the robbers took only the envelope as insurance, and that he has the right to buy it back if the robbers ever attempt blackmail. Still, she presses for more details, reasoning that the robbers would not perform such a perfect heist for only an envelope without touching any money. Arthur admits that the box contained not just the envelope but also loose diamonds and a Cartier ring he had taken from a Jewish friend he betrayed to the German government years ago. He hands Madeline a check to ensure her silence. Back at the bank, Dalton remains hidden behind the reconstructed fake wall in the storage room. His 3 accomplices and the Jewish man wait for him to exit. When Keith and Bill arrive to inspect box 392, Dalton has already slipped out of the hideout. He calmly walks toward the entrance and by chance bumps into Keith. Keith does not recognize him, and Dalton exits freely, taking with him the incriminating documents and several bags of diamonds, just as he promised he would. Inside the bank, Keith and Bill open safe 392 and find Dalton's chewing gum, a ring, and a note that reads, "Follow the ring." They confront Arthur, demanding answers about box 392 and why he sent Madeline to negotiate with the robbers. Arthur refuses to explain, so Keith shows him the ring, hinting that he will pursue the truth until the end.
Hey, Keith, let me see your shoe. What? Because I have never seen anybody put their foot that far up a guy's ass.
Not stopping there, Keith attends lunch with the mayor and Madeline, subtly pressing her to contact the Office of War Crimes Issues of the State Department, hinting at Arthur's past crimes. Without further words, he walks away, leaving Madeline to feel the weight of his presence. Later that night, after challenging the city's highest powers, Keith returns home, glad to find his girlfriend waiting. As he empties his pockets, he discovers a loose diamond. Dalton had slipped it in for him earlier that morning. Dalton's final gift leaves Keith with a choice, to use it as evidence or give it as a ring for his girlfriend. Which choice will Keith make?
Detective first grade Keith Frazier. Are you fucking kidding me?